You know, there's a new study revealing millennials are better savers than boomers, but despite those savings, millennials are still plagued by debt. To Chris Hogan on the good and the bad news. Chris, you know, some financial experts think it's a mistake for these millennials to be hoarding so much money. At this age is when they should be taking risk and making investments and doing other things rather than sitting on their cash.
Well, Charles, listen, I think millennials are doing the smart thing by investing. Now, if they're plugging in and they're utilizing 401ks and 403bs, then that's a smart move. You and I know the goal of investing is to have your money grow for you, not just necessarily spend it or waste it away at a store.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I think a lot of them are just kind of sitting on cash, right?
Well, I think some may be, but according to this study, we're looking and we're seeing that younger people, millennials, are starting to utilize the investment tools that are available to them. Now, if they're sitting on some money and they have an emergency fund, that's a good thing. But I don't want them sitting on too much. They need to make sure they grow that money using time and compound interest.
So, Chris, are you sensing that maybe they're getting away from that sort of YOLO, you only live once, fear of missing out, you know, I got to have the cash for the next pair of Yeezys that come out, to maybe thinking one day I'll get married and send a kid to college?
I think, Charles, I agree with you. I think they're starting to look forward a little bit, but I think some of it, and this is my opinion, some of it's coming from maybe they're seeing their parents deal with a crunch. Maybe they're seeing their grandparents and they're looking at this and going, hold on a minute. I want to make sure I'm able to do some things for myself and my family later. So maybe this investing thing, there's some merit to it.
On the other end of this, of course, we keep hearing millennials, they're carrying all of this college debt, and that's why it's taking them longer to sort of get out at the gate and do all the things that prior generations at this age did. Are you starting to see any sort of shift in that sort of situation at all?
Well, actually, in our survey, in our study, we found that there were 5 obstacles standing in the way to millennials saving for retirement. The first one kind of shocked me, and it was cost of living. Their day-to-day cost of living. The second thing that jumped out was kids' activities. Was number 2 in standing in the way, but number 3, 4, and 5, well, they all kind of followed suit. Number 3 was student loan debt. Number 4 was credit card debt, and number 5 was mortgage debt. So debt is definitely standing in their way.
Cost of living, I mean, 35% are living with mom and dad. I'm a little confused in that, although I've got a 19-year-old son, so he likes the best of the best. You know, he doesn't just call Uber, he asks for the biggest car. And, of course, those activities get back to what we were talking about. These folks like to have a good time.
Yeah, they do. And here's the thing. They need to understand where money comes from. Money comes from work, and they've got to be prepared. And it's okay to enjoy some stuff. I just don't want stuff to have you. So I want them to have a game plan, plug in, and utilize this information as a wake-up call.
Bottom line, though, then, Chris, maybe we've given millennials, you know, maybe we've looked at them in the wrong light. They're the largest age group in this country. Obviously, they've got to carry the baton of America's greatness with them. Should we have more faith that they're going to do the right thing?
Well, I certainly hold out hope for them. I mean, listen, they have the most time working in their advantage. If they utilize the right opportunities for themselves, they can really grow their money. So use the 401ks, millennials. Use your 403bs. Start to understand about Roth IRAs and those opportunities. And for goodness sakes, leave the money alone once you put it in there, and let's let it grow.
And before I let you go, then, we've been focused on the millennials. So let's broaden it out a little bit. How are you feeling overall about their attitudes towards savings, investing, and where this economy has gone?
Well, I think for individuals, I think people are suffering a wake-up call right now. We're starting to understand that we can't rely on the government to save the day. We actually have to plan our way. And that's understanding the importance of budgeting and savings and getting out of debt. When you get out of debt, you give yourself a raise. And when you invest, you're giving yourself an opportunity to grow your money. And so I want more people to engage in this process and take control of their financial futures.
Yeah, I think the key word is patience and just believe. It's going to happen, but you've got to have patience. Chris, you're great, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.